But I also put myself up against the wall because I wasn't willing to see myself different, because I knew that it would mean relationships in my life would change and also be different. Welcome to the Black Mother Wound podcast, where we center the stories of Black women as we heal from the painful relationships with our mothers. Welcome to the Black Mother Wound podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Arnice. Welcome back, everybody. It is still this is the end of January. We completed our 4-part New Year Reset series last week. And today we are back in the studio. After I finished recording this, like as soon as I finish recording, I am hopping on the highway to go celebrate one of my oldest and dearest friends' birthday in Greensboro. So we're having dinner tonight with 14 of her friends. And I am so excited. And that's kind of why, look, if you're watching this on YouTube, I don't have my normal podcast mic set up. I have like this lavalier on my shirt because I'm also recording last minute. The podcast goes live on Tuesday and today is Saturday, and I should have had this to them last week. And so I need to batch content. I need to record more episodes this week so I can get out of this rush cycle that I'm in right now. But it's all good. We are going to work it out. I considered not doing an episode this week, but the only reason I wouldn't have done the episode was I just kind of would have given up. It was like, oh, I don't have time. I'm just not going to do it. And instead of that, I kind of woosawed and I simplified the whole process, because running a podcast by yourself is a lot of work. Just per episode, what it takes to get everything together. And I was like, how can you kind of condense some of those steps to make it easier for you to record? And one of those was me recording one file on my phone. So I'm recording this episode on my phone. There's a lot of information that y'all probably don't even care about, but I think it is useful because oftentimes we will tell ourselves that something is true. And the thing that we think is true is also the thing that keeps us from having what we want, doing what we want, creating the life that we want. Okay? And I guess that's what we're going to talk about today. It's like, is it really true? Is what you're thinking really true? Is it true that I didn't have time to record an episode? Is it true that if I don't get them the data a week out, that they're not going to be able to drop it? Is it true that I'm going to be inconveniencing them and it's not going to be as good and I'm going to be stressed out? Are those things actually true? Because I have put a certain pressure and expectation on myself to perform in a certain way. No one else has put that expectation on me. I have put it on myself, and then I have created these facts to support it in a difficult way, not an easy way, but in a very difficult way. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We started Resolve this week. So this is my 4th round of doing Resolve, and I want to congratulate myself for staying in this. And let's just take a small congratulatory break. Okay. Congratulate myself for having the 4th round of this course. I remember being in therapy in 2019 probably, and me telling my then therapist, my new therapist at the time, I am doing something over and over again is very triggering for me. And what I was telling her, what we got to the bottom of it was, I was raised that the way I did things was never good enough. And so I was made to do it again. No, that's not good enough. Do it again and do it again. So repetition of a task was a form of punishment, and it was humiliating, and it was distressing, and it put my nervous system under duress. And I wasn't somebody who submitted easily. It created like a rebellious spirit in me. So when it comes to learning new things, the repetition of it, sometimes I would tap out because it's like, it would just be very triggering to me. So all that to say, I want to thank my therapist for helping me, because running Resolve is not easy, and there's so many things you have to learn, and the old version of me would have tapped out long ago. I would have done it once and would have been on to something else, because I also would have said it's not good enough. It's not, nobody's going to come back for this. I can't do it twice. I wouldn't have even been able to pay attention long enough. But here we are with the fourth round, and I'm so excited for the ladies and for myself. So, okay. Shameless plug, but you know how I talked, last week or a couple weeks back about congratulating yourself. There's always something to look at your life and be like, oh, girl, you did good. You did that. I'm so proud of you. And I am in the I'm proud of me season. I love that for me. And I hope that you're in that season too. But one of the things we talked about in week one, we talk about safety. The whole Resolve is the 6 levels of autonomy, right? And we go from the lowest level of autonomy to the highest level of autonomy. And the first level of autonomy is safety. And safety is really about, do you feel like you have choices or not? And if you don't feel safe, that basically means you don't have choice, right? Your back is up against the wall. And how can you establish safety in your life? How can you know that you can make different decisions and you have different options? And one of the biggest impediments to feeling safe, right? I didn't say to being safe, because we all have a level of safety. A lot of it is perception based. So when you want to feel safe, you have to investigate what you believe to be true. I don't have any choices in a matter. There's only one way to record the podcast. It's not going to be good if I don't use my podcast microphone. It's going to be they're going to charge me extra if I give them the file late. So I have to give it to them 7 days in advance. Here I am 3 days in advance. I can still give them the file. Guess what? They're going to charge me $25 or $30 more. It's not something that I want to be a habit, but it's okay. It's okay. I have a choice. I'm still safe in the matter. So that's what I want you to be thinking about. Like, what are the ways that you don't feel safe in your life? Whether it be you don't feel financially safe, physically, mentally, emotionally. And you might say, oh, well, I feel pretty safe. Where are the spaces in your life where you don't believe you have a choice and you're forced to do certain things or to not do certain things? Because not having a choice is a form of powerlessness. And powerlessness is a lack of autonomy, which is how your mother wound shows up. So your mother wound shows up in the ways that you don't believe you have options or choices. And some of y'all are going to fight me, because the things that you believe to be true around you not having a choice, you've believed them for so long. You have believed them for a very long time. And other people around you believe them. And you have built your personality and your identity and your life around these perceptions that you believe are facts. And so to challenge them, to have you challenge them can be a little triggering because you might think I'm coming for you. And I am coming for you, boo, because I love you. That's why. That's the only reason. So this is the exercise I had them do. I had them write down, like, what are the spaces in your life where you don't feel like you have a choice? And then we start to investigate and break those things down. And so, like, for me, mine was a podcast, but yours might be something like, I'm going to use one of my students' beliefs, right? She's also a client of mine and she knows who she is. And I hope she doesn't mind me using this example. And I call her, like, she's one of my star clients, because when I tell her something, she'd be on it and she'd be like, oh, I'm making the adjustment. Thank you very much. So, and I'm also using this because I think it's very common right now. So these are not strenuous, like one of a kind belief systems. These are like common beliefs that society at large holds. So it's very easy for you to say, I believe it too, must be true. So the belief is, the truth for her, I'm going to say it was, because I don't think it is anymore, that the job market is trash and I can't find another job. I have to stay at the job I'm at right now. That is the fact of the matter for her. And because of that, I'm not going to say because of that, she doesn't like her job, right? She doesn't like her job. And she feels as though she has to stay in the job because the job market is trash. This has created a feeling of not being safe in her life because the job is what pays her bills and it's her livelihood. My questions to her were, how do you know you can't find another job? How many jobs have you applied for? Right? There were also concerns about the kind of job that she would be able to get. The fact for her in that moment, her perception was, because of certain restrictions, educational restrictions, I'm only going to be able to get this kind of job. Is that a fact? Is it a fact that that is true? Have you proven it to be true? Or is it what your mind has told you? Because actually being able to change our lives and have the autonomy and authority over our lives requires a certain level of responsibility. And the little girl in us has had to take so much responsibility that it's almost like exhaustion. And it's like, I don't want to be disappointed. I don't want to have to figure something else out, because if you grew up in a household where you did not have, I'm going to say, parents to support you, and we talk about the mother wound here, have the support of a mother, the nurturing, the encouragement to build up your level of awareness of who you are and your gifts and your talents and what opportunities are for you out there. What's up, boo? Sorry to interrupt the episode. I just wanted to let you know my 6-week Black Mother Wound Healing Intensive starts again in January. Listen, we are not carrying this mother wound burden into 2025, okay? It's done, it's played out, and it is out of style. But you know what is in style? Learning to love yourself completely. Knowing you're worth it without working for it, putting yourself first without feeling guilty about it, and trusting yourself without asking everybody else what they think you should be doing. So if you're ready for this life-changing transformation, click the link below so you don't miss out. And as always, we're all in this together. Then it creates a space where it's like, I got to do this all on my own. And that can wear and it can tear on you. And something like finding a job is difficult. It's not just, I don't even, you know what? I'm going to take that back. Because is that a fact? Is it difficult? When I talk about challenging our beliefs and our language, baby. So let me back up. There can be challenges in finding a job that you like, that pays the money that you want, that gives you all the things that you want in a job, if you are not trained in a job search. Do you understand? If you don't have certain resources available to you, it can be mentally draining and daunting. Finding a job, looking for a job is not how a lot of people like to spend their time, right? And we were also built to believe that it's hard to find a job. That's just the messaging that we've been taught. It doesn't matter what economy you're in, that it's going to be hard to find a job. Child, when you get that job, you better sit there and you better don't move, right? And who wants to go up against that mental mountain if you don't have to? And if you're someone who doesn't really understand your skill set, your values, and have the confidence around what is available to you, it will make you believe that you don't have any choices and you have to deal with what is presented. And that creates a feeling of being in danger, because if somebody takes that job away from you, or something happens, you get sick, you don't go to work, you get downsized, you have lost your livelihood, and now you are in a physical danger, right? Because you can't pay your bills. It's like a downward spiral. As someone who has been there, you lose your car, you get evicted, you're sleeping on somebody's couch. Next thing you know, you're sleeping on a cot in the church because you're homeless with your child. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that. So when I talk about this, I don't talk about it from a perspective of looking at it from the outside in. And I think the job is a really good example, because we're taught what it takes to have a job, what it means to get a good job. You got to have a college degree to get a good job. Is that true? So if somebody doesn't have a college education, they think, oh, I've got to work at McDonald's, or I've got to, work a job that doesn't pay much, or I don't like it, right? Or it's like, oh, you got to go inside to an office. If you want a good job, you got to go into the office and work. Is that true? You might be somebody who doesn't live in a big city where they don't have those types of jobs in your area. So you're like, well, I'm stuck in something that I really don't want. Okay. But is it true you have to go in the office? Could I possibly work remote? Okay. I'm just using this as one example because I want you to begin to challenge what you think is true. And I know that growing up and not being in control of our lives, we could not define what was true, and we couldn't change it. And so we grew up with like a bag full of truths, and we pull from those. And they're usually limiting truths. If you grew up with someone who did not see you, recognize you, nurture you, and support you in being the best of who you are. And healing your mother wound is really about emptying out that bag one by one and like, oh, I don't like that. Can I challenge that? Do I have to put back? Is there anything in there that I can take back? Oh, there are a couple of good things. It's like, oh, you're smart. Can we put that in the bag? Okay, you might have good ideas. You've heard that before. You put that in the bag. Girl, you can learn anything. Okay, I'll put that back in the bag. But there may be a lot of other things in the bag that you don't want anymore. They're not useful for you creating the life that you want. You're going to have to create new truths to put in the bag. Like, I can find the job I want. I'm valuable. I have lots of great skills. The world is changing and more opportunities are becoming available to me every day. I'm really great at networking. If I can meet the right person, they can point me in the right direction of the right opportunity, right? I can keep asking questions. I can let people know that I need help. Like, these are all things that go in your bag that are resources so you can create a new truth, a new fact for your life, right? What I know is I can find a damn job. Some people don't believe that. I know that to be true. If I go out here, I can find a job, and I don't even have to apply to a lot of jobs to find a job. And it's not because I know a lot of people. It's just because I have the energy of jobs always find me. Jobs always find me. And because they always have, I've always believed that. And I've never cared about losing a job or not. I've never, oh my God, this used to make my mother and the people in my family so pissed because they would be like, that girl will quit a job on Friday and go to a new job on Monday. Jobs are everywhere. Jobs are everywhere. And I don't care how it looks that I go from job to job. I don't care if I leave a job and there's a space left in, where I was and something doesn't get done. Because guess what? They know how I'm good at finding a job. They're good at finding people to work a job and that I'm replaceable. I love knowing that I'm replaceable in a job. That doesn't make me upset because we're all replaceable. So that has been my truth. That has been my fact about working since I was 14 years old. Always has been, always will be. Okay. That's just the way it is. There are certain things that I think are in abundance. I think men are in abundance, right? It's like, if I wanted a man, I could have one. But there's no good men out here. There are good men out here. I'm just not interested in them right now. I'm enjoying my own company, but I'm like, they're out here. I don't have to pay attention to the ones I don't want. They out here, child. My Lord, they are out here. So it's like, you have to begin to challenge what you believe is true in the areas where you don't feel you have choices. Okay? Anywhere you feel that you don't have a choice, I want you just to simply ask the question, what would I do differently if I had a choice? I want you to ask, what are my choices? I want you to ask, what's another way that I can look at this situation that would make me feel better? I want you to ask, what are my options? What am I not seeing in this moment? What am I afraid to see in this moment? How will my life shift if I did have choices? And why might I not want that shift to happen? Where am I putting myself in a corner because it makes other people comfortable? Where am I putting myself in a corner so I don't have to be outside of my comfort zone? Where am I putting myself in a corner because I'm too exhausted to be disciplined? Where am I putting myself in a corner because I don't believe that I can make a good decision? Now we're getting to the root of things. That it's not about there's not a choice, but there's a barrier to you seeing the choice. Okay. What are the barriers to me seeing the choices? It's not that what I want is not available to me. It's that there's a payoff. There's a payoff to me not being safe, to me not giving myself the opportunity to have options. What is that payoff? Who do I think I owe? Who do I feel, whose emotions do I feel responsible for? Who am I afraid I will leave behind? Who will I be? Like, my identity is really rooted. My identity used to be definitely rooted in the scatterbrained girl who always left a job, who couldn't really, she was artistic, creative, but nothing ever really stuck. She never could make it happen. She never saw things through. I was married to that And I stayed so busy with so many things, child. So you would think I had it going on, but I had such a fear that I didn't know what I was doing. I had such a fear of trusting myself, of believing in myself, that I thought, I have to see myself the way my mother sees me. And if I don't, then I'll be being disobedient. And she doesn't think I make good choices, right? She doesn't think there is a lot out there for me. And I don't think it was me specifically. She just didn't think there was a lot out there for people, period, right? Based off of how she grew up, your options are limited and you need to be still and be happy where you are with what you got, you know? And so that wasn't good enough for me. But I also put myself up against the wall because I wasn't willing to see myself different, because I knew that it would mean relationships in my life would change and also be different. Okay. So I just want you to be curious about that right now. I'm not saying that you're going to make the biggest changes in your life. You may have a great aha moment right now and it hits you and you like, oh, I'm off to the races in a new direction. But what I want you to do is just get curious. Start paying attention to your life. Building a healthy relationship, a loving relationship with yourself, is about knowing who you are. It's not about beating yourself up or changing everything about yourself, but it is about awareness. It is about, getting to know you. When you like him or her and you like everything about them. You know what their favorite cologne, their favorite food is, how they act when they sleepy, how they move when they got a lot on their mind. You know everything about them, right? You have studied them. You are curious about them. You want to know more about them. You want to be there so you can support them in being the best version of themselves, because, we are so good at taking care of others and loving on people, right? And giving them grace and compassion and just showing how we feel about them. I want you to do that with yourself, right? In this exercise, I just want you to be curious about, oh, okay, I can see how I'm doing this, that, or the third, and how it's impacting me in a negative way. And it's making me feel like I'm not safe, right? And this is different from actually not being safe. If you are not safe, I need you to do whatever it takes to get safe, whether it means call 911, go stay at a friend's house, hail a stranger, whatever it is, you deserve to be safe. But this is really about the choices that we make that make us perceive there's a lack of safety, because there are certain choices and certain actions that we are not willing to take, right? And oftentimes, whether we realize it or not, we are waiting on someone to come and save us, right? The little girl in us is like, why don't I have anybody here? I used to call myself like Amazon acting like a damsel in distress. Let me fall down and act like I can't do it. Oh, then somebody will come and save me. And I realized nobody was coming to save me because they were looking at me like, girl, you a damn Amazon. You a stallion. You got all of the power, all of the tools. You have everything it takes to make it. So get up off the ground. Man, people were walking past me like, girl, bye. You don't need no help, right? And where I did need help, I wasn't willing to ask because I was looking to be rescued. The little girl in me was still waiting for my mother to come and say, I got you. And unfortunately, for many of us, we're not going to get that. And I cannot sit and lament with you over that, because we got a life to live. And you reparenting yourself is probably better than anything that your mother could ever give you. And you need to get to the business of giving that to yourself. If you have any ambition in life, no matter what kind of ambition it is, if you have any, you're going to have to get to the business of being your own mother. And it's not a consolation prize. I've said that over the last couple of weeks. It is the lottery ticket, right? So any resentment that you have to show up for yourself because no one else will, I advise you to get over it, because people cannot give you what they don't have. And it's really amazing, right, to know that nobody owes you shit. Because guess what it means? You don't owe them shit either. And you are walking around like you owe somebody because you think somebody owes you. And it is putting you in an environment where you feel like you don't have choices. And now you are claiming that you are not safe, but you really are, because you have given the power of who you are over to circumstances and to your past and to other people. And you are going to have to challenge what you believe to be true about yourself, others, and the world if you are going to create the life you want. There is no other way around it. Okay? There is no other way around it. So that's what I have for y'all today. Challenge your thoughts. Challenge what you believe to be true. Be curious. Be kind. Be patient with yourself. Just observe. Be a loving observer. Oh, okay. And ask questions. What's another way I could think about that? Well, is that true? Is it? Interesting. Like, be in a quandary about your life. Okay. And, yeah, that's what I have. I love you all. I'm going to see you next week. I'm about to go get on the highway and celebrate my girlfriend's tonight at her birthday dinner. If you are watching this on YouTube, thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, share, comment. If you're listening to the audio, come on over to YouTube and check me out. It's nice over here. I have started vlogging. I think I've talked about that before. For y'all that watch the vlog, a new episode you probably just saw is already up, because this drops on Tuesday. The vlog probably will drop Sunday. And you'll already know a little bit about this, because in the vlog that dropped before this episode on Tuesday, I kind of took everybody on like a behind the scenes of recording this episode. So it would be awesome for you to go over there and watch it. And I appreciate your support, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.